Hello everybody and welcome back to On Point HQ and another bolt action showcase. Yes, I have finally finished my Deutsche Afrika Korps project. So I thought I'd do a bit of a showcase video, show you what I've done, a bit of background to it, what I've based it on. Yeah, that's the standard showcase stuff. So this all started, ooh crikey, back at the Warlord Games open day last year. I picked up a box of the plastic Afrika Korps infantry, and it sort of went from there. So it's a 1500, round about 1500 points, and it's specifically set in 1942. So the actual theatre selector I've chosen, and we'll find that for you now. So it's this one here. It's the 1942 DAK Panzer Division. Now with this you get a choice of medium or heavy, I believe it's called. So the mediums are Panzer IVs. I've opted for Panzer IVs and a bit of a surprise tank that you'll see in the upcoming showcase. So it's, like I say, it's around about 1500 points, and it's based around this theatre selector here from the Campaign Western Desert book, the 1942 DAK Panzer Division. So I'm taking Panzer IVs. I've opted for the heavy Panzer Division. What I might do, if I'm feeling particularly adventurous, will be to pick up 3 Panzer IIIs and also have the option to run this as a medium armoured division, which would be quite interesting. I've only got one Panzer III, that's for my Stalingrad Germans, and a great little kit it was to put together as well. So I chose 1942. It's from, I don't know why, it's just it's an interesting part of the desert campaign as we get towards sort of the latter stages of it, and the list I've chosen, like I said, this theatre selector certainly reflects that. Now, an interesting thing about this theatre selector is you can use it in, let's go to page 51, I believe it is. So in the campaign book you've got Gazala, so Rommel's greatest victory. Now there's three scenarios in this part of the book where you can take, for all 3 scenarios you can actually use the list that I have put together, which is really good, which means I've got a purpose-built list now if I want to run these scenarios. So we have scenario 12, the Cauldron, and then we have scenario 13, which is Bir Hakim, and then scenario 14, which is Bir El Harmat. So it's good that I've got a purpose-built force that if I ever want to run these scenarios, I can certainly do so. Great book, this Campaign in the Western Desert. Some really good both Allied and Axis lists in it. But again, this was the cornerstone of my Afrika Korps list. Really enjoyable project to do. Took me a bit longer than I was actually expecting. I've spent quite a bit of time, so many hours have gone into this project. It's quite a bit of kit bashing. The uniforms are quite intricate. Well, not Napoleonic intricate, but for me they're quite intricate. But I just enjoyed every second of working on this project. So without further ado, let's move and show you exactly what I've been up to. So let's start off with the command vehicle. So this is it's a Panzer E with a short barrel 75, and like I said, this is going to count as the command vehicle in the list. You can tell it's a command vehicle because there's a chap in the turret on a radio, probably. Surprised he isn't shouting or pointing, because we know that's what all leaders and commanders do in bolt action. But moving aside, yes, this is a plastic kit from Warlord Games, from the Panzer IV box, and you can create quite a few variants from the Panzer IV box. So I've used 2, and a surprise third tank, which I'll get to in a bit, in this army. So we've got 2 Panzer IVs. This is the first one. So like I said, it's a Panzer IV-E, short barreled 75mm. A great little kit to work on. I built and painted it in about a night's work. Not a great deal of work goes into it, but it's a lovely kit. Some additional stowage there. And this is going to, like I said, this will serve as the command tank. You do need to take a command vehicle in the Panzer Division list that I've taken for this army, and this chap here is going to be the commander. Again, really enjoyed working on this. I think this may have been the first Panzer IV. Oh, it's the second Panzer IV that I ever made. But either way, It was really good. A lot of fun to put together and hopefully will serve me well in the desert. Up next is the second Panzer IV. Now this is a Panzer IV-G with a long barreled 75mm gun. Again, coming from the same kit as the Panzer E command vehicle, all made by Warlord or Warlord Plastics. The additional stowage on these kits is from a company called Red Dog Models. They do a wonderful range of resin stowage for tanks. I think they do an allied one, a sort of generic one as well. And they go together really well with the Warlord Games kits. Some people have asked me how I go about painting my desert vehicles. Now, with these, I use it's a strange mixture of Vallejo khaki and Vallejo green ochre. They're never the same. They're never the same. And then what I do is just apply it to the entire vehicle, a brown wash, and then we hit it with lots and lots of dry brushing to give it that worn look. After that, I use a piece of sponge and some Vallejo black grey, or grey black, to dab on some weathering, so where the paint's chipped off, etc. And then the last thing I do is I use Vallejo weathering pigments, and I don't slop it all over the vehicles. I just put them around the tracks where you'd really expect dust to gather naturally on vehicles, and that's where I normally put the weathering pigments. I think it works well with the base colour that I use on these as well. Now I know what you're saying, Steve, this isn't a German tank. No, this is a British Matilda. So this list allows you to take a captured Matilda tank, and when I saw that I was like, yeah, I'm having me some of that, because big fan of the Matilda. Very, very iconic looking tank for World War II, and if I can include one in any list, I will. And this was a great little kit to put together. Again, another one of Warlord's Plastics, but it went together really, really well, painted up so quickly. There's lots of evidence. I was doing research for this project of captured vehicles of opposing forces using equipment and vehicles from the opposing force. So shown on the screen there should be a photograph of a Matilda in German service in North Africa. And it's little things like this that, for me, they really give a project a bit of individuality, a bit of uniqueness. I mean, you don't really expect to see a Matilda in German service in games of bolt action, but with this, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, I need to do that. Elephant in the room, that base has now been painted. I've just noticed that it's not painted at all, and it looks horrific. Please be assured that base, the edge of the base, is now fully painted and doesn't look like that anymore. It's not like me to put out shoddy work. But there we go. Oh, that looks terrible. But yeah, fantastic model by Warlord, and that is a captured Matilda. So that's the last of the tanks. Up next we have two 251s, these SD KFZ 251s. Again, plastic kits by Warlord. Not really an awful lot done to these. They're straight out the box. There's no real kit bashing. Just the additional stowage. Again, the stowage comes from the kits themselves. Some bits and pieces I had knocking around in my bits boxes, and also again from Red Dog Models. Again, lovely little kits. I think I've built 5 or 6 of these in the past. They go together really well. Very, very iconic vehicle for the German Army in World War II. And again, painted in the same way as all the other ones. So it's that Vallejo khaki and green ochre mixture put all over it. Then a brown wash, and then after that it's just highlights using a dry brush, adding the weathering, and then slapping on some weathering pigments onto the armour where you'd expect it to naturally gather, to give it the natural look. Really happy with the weathering on these. It's a new technique I've been using, and it was from a video by Troy, so Sonic Sledgehammer. He did a video on desert weathering, and I thought, yes, excuse me, that's something I'm definitely going to be doing, and I was so surprised at how well it turns out. So there we have it. They are two 251s. Now, previously I mentioned captured vehicles. So what do we have coming up next? Yes, so we've got an Opel Blitz there, a bog stand. What is that? That's a universal carrier. Again, it's a captured vehicle. Now this isn't strictly in in the list itself. It's just something I've always wanted to do. And I love the idea of them finding an abandoned universal carrier, saying, yeah, I think we'll make use of that, lads. That looks like something we can put to good service. So what I'll be doing with this is this, in game terms, it'll be counted as a Kubelwagen. For all intents and purposes, same rules, same transport, yada yada yada. But I'll just be using a universal carrier to represent a Kubelwagen because it just looks so cool. Again, lots of evidence and research photographs of universal carriers being used in the service of the Afrika Korps. I just think it gives a really, again, a nice unique look to the army. The second vehicle is a standard Opel Blitz, straight out the box. Nothing fancy going on there. That's going to act as a tow for the light artillery piece that will be coming up very soon. One of my favourite Warlord kits. It goes together so well. It's detailed. You get many options with it. Yeah, you can build it as a multier for the European theatre operations. So mine's painted in sort of desert scheme with the desert weathering, and very nice it was to put together too. So as I mentioned, the Opel Blitz will be a tow for the artillery gun there. So it's the light artillery gun, the LEIG 18, I believe it's called. So these are my two sort of support options for the Afrika Korps project. We've got the light artillery piece, and we've got a medium mortar with spotter. Now the main thing about these is, the more keen-eyed amongst you will notice, is that they are all the crews and even the spotter, they're all kit bashed, they're all plastic. So I've used none of the metal crews that come with these pieces originally. I'm not a fan of metal crews. I think they're slightly smaller than their plastic counterparts, and I just think you can get better poses. I mean, it takes a little bit longer to do, obviously, as you've got to work out, what's the best position for these. Once they're done, I think from an aesthetic point of view, and everyone knows I like really individual looking armies for bolt action, it certainly goes a long way with that. These were great fun to put together. Again, I always love kit bashing crews. Some really interesting bases there with the cork basing. The spotter at the front, very interestingly, his body is actually from the Grenadier box, not the Afrika Korps box. I ran out of kneeling chaps, so I raided my bits box, and you can't really tell. I've also added some. His arms are from, I think they're either from the Grenadier box themselves or from the US Marine box. I think it might be the Grenadier box. So the only real Afrika Korps stuff that he's got is his helmet and the equipment. The rest of it is from, I think it's from the Grenadier box. So here we have our Hauptmann, our captain, and a forward observer. I think on the top of my, I think he's an artillery. No, it might be an air spot. Either way, he's a forward artillery person. So even though you've got your command vehicle, you can also take a higher officer as well. So this will help to convey orders upon the ground troops. Again, these are, I think some of them are, the left arm's kit bashed. The pointing arm, I believe, is kit bashed. It's been a while since I painted these, so I'm struggling to remember exactly how I did them. But so that's going to be Hauptmann and his assistant, both armed with rifles, and then we've got the forward observer there. That's just, again, straight out the box. But the left arm, or the right arm holding the radio is actually, I think he's holding, I can't remember what he's originally holding. But anyway, I snipped away the arm, added the actual wire is from a Bren gun, I believe, a Bren gun sling, and the radio is actually from the Afrika Korps box by Perry Miniatures, which I bought many years ago and didn't really do anything with it. But I always remembered, I thought, right, I've got that radio, I will definitely use that at some point. But yeah, so that's the higher command, so the captain, the Hauptmann, and the forward observation. Again, some nice miniatures to really work on. Yeah, just really nice. Great stuff to paint. So this is the first Schutzen squad. So these are, there's two of these, 2 8-man squads, veteran, both with 2 light machine guns, and then I think there's, the NCO's got an SMG, and the rest of them are rifles. Now this squad here has had a fair bit of kit bashing. So I've used arms from the Winter German kit, as you see there, the guy with the landmine, and the guy running has got some equipment on his back from the Winter German box. The guy holding the LMG, I believe that's from the crew from the Opel Blitz. You get with that. The guy pointing, his pointy arm is from the US Marines box. And the guy there, he's found himself a Tommy gun. Again, more captured equipment being liberated in the desert. That's from the US Marine box. And they just go really well with the short sleeves. They fit in really, really well with the Afrika Korps figures. And again, it just makes him look a bit gnarly, doesn't it? A bit hardcore. But again, really enjoyed working on these. A really interesting paint scheme. Take a slightly longer to paint than sort of other uniforms, because there's quite a few colours involved here. Always enjoy painting these though. And I think that squad looks quite hardcore. Like I say, 8-man squad, 2 LMGs, so plenty of dice being thrown out by these squads. Veteran as well, so they're not really going to go anywhere. And I'm really looking forward to getting these on the tabletop and seeing exactly how they perform. So up next is the 2nd Schützen Squad. Again, same loadout. 8-man veteran, 2 light machine guns, 2 loaders, 1 NCO with a submachine gun, and the rest are armed with rifles. As you can see, and again, another bit of a kit bash here. So the NCO at the front there, with the MP40, those arms are from the German Blitzkrieg box. I just thought they went together quite well. And again, the MG, that MG42 there, is from, MG34, sorry. The MG34 is from the Blitzkrieg box, and the chap in the middle with the 34, that's from the plastic Fallschirmjäger box. I'm not a fan of prone miniatures, and this box comes with all the LMGs of prone nature. I just don't like them. It's just a personal preference of mine, but it's not something that I use a lot of. I use them sometimes for spotters or snipers, but very, very rarely would I put them straight into an infantry unit. So yeah, a little bit of kit bashing to get them to give them a bit more action poses or at ease poses with the MG34s there. But again, I think it goes a really long way to giving the unit a bit of uniqueness, a bit of personality, rather than just having every single light machine gunner lying down. Well, that's the rest of the figures, so I shall see you in the wrap-up of this video. And so there we have it, just over 1,500 points worth of Deutsche Afrika Korps from campaign the Western Desert for bolt action. A couple of surprises in there. The captured Matilda was just something I've always wanted to do. I've seen pictures of it. And the plastic Matilda kit from Warlord is really a great kit to put together. So as soon as I saw that, and I knew you could, in the theatre selector that I'd chosen, you can take the option of a captured Matilda. I was like, yes, I've got to have me some of that. And I'm really glad I did. Like I mentioned in the previous, it really gives your armies and your projects a really distinct and unique look, and that's what I always go for when it comes to my bolt action armies. That universal carrier was just a lot of fun, just a lot of fun to put together. All in all though, absolutely brilliant project. The only problem is, I think I now need to start an 8th army as I'm going to post in force to it. Curses. But yeah, really enjoyable army to work on, and I hope you found that video enjoyable. If you've got any questions about the project or bolt action or wargaming in general, just pop them down below and I'll certainly respond to all comments and questions. But as always, thanks for watching, do take care, may dice roll well, and I'll catch you all in the next video. So bye bye for now.